Your income breakdown, you make $30,000 a day.
Yeah.
What is going on? Jonathan here, I'm half of Methodbox. If you're new to this channel, we are very interested in new money. People that are self-made, that have amassed their wealth within their lifetime, oftentimes before 30 years old. And there has consistently been someone on our radar recently. His name is me, Kevin.
Hey everyone, me, Kevin here. I'm a real estate broker and real estate investor. Making money in real estate, making money on YouTube, investing in stocks. It just seemed like he loved everything about money and how to make more of it.
Statistically, 88% of all millionaires out there are self-made.
I'm a 28-year-old dude that started with nothing. The cash flow from my real estate pays for this kind of car.
If you clicked on this video because you know who Meet Kevin is, this is gonna be a detailed breakdown of how he and his wife Lauren amassed their wealth in just 10 years, step by step.
Can you imagine making $1 million a month?
No.
They were able to do this in 10 years from the ages of 18 to 28. I'm breaking down their journey so that you can learn their specific investing strategies.
When you control assets, you build wealth.
And if you don't know who Meet Kevin is, be prepared to be motivated to go out there and build your wealth. The steps that they've taken seem super doable. Be prepared to have a life-changing experience because that is what happened to me. I just spent 2 weeks doing a deep dive of Kevin for this edit. It has been intense. 100%, my life will never be the same. We're gonna get into that a little bit later.
Ready for this?
Also, there's a property I wanna go check out. I'm gonna tell you his story on the way. Let's get into it.
I'm gonna take you on a little bit of a journey so you get the full story, and then I'm gonna give you the secrets at the end, so make sure to stay for the secrets.
Let's start at the beginning.
My family moved to this country when I was 12 months old, and we had no money. At 6, they finally had some money, but then got divorced, ruined their credit, and lost everything.
His parents knew nothing about American culture or society, how to get ahead. They barely knew how to speak the language.
My father withdraws with his debit card $20 from the ATM. Kevin, I only have 11 of these left.
Obviously, one can't help but wonder if this immigrant upbringing background helped plant the seed in Kevin.
If that propels their kids to want to be more successful and escape the lifestyle that they grew up in.
Like most traditional entrepreneurs, Kevin did not perform well in high school. It actually wasn't until he met Lauren that he found his true passion.
In January of 2008, right before the greatest financial crisis since the Great Depression, I knew absolutely nothing. Oh, you know what? I'll go on a school trip to Europe. And on that trip,
I met Lauren in Paris.
so after being long distance for a year,
I moved from South Florida to Ventura, California with no money and no idea what the heck I was going to do.
what could possibly go wrong going across country for a girl at 17 years old?
I had no net worth. We started at zero with zero money.
Yeah.
We made our money from zero to like $6,000, $8,000 each working entry-level jobs like Hollister.
Hollister, that's it.
I made about $3,000 working at Hollister over the summer and working at Jamba Juice.
I'll never forget scraping mold off the shelves of Jamba Juice.
I made $8,079. Eventually worked at
Red Robin.
And I always figured that, you know what, eventually I could probably just find one of these darn minimum wage jobs where I could finally love the store and love everything about it
I always worked at my jobs like it was my own business.
and work my way up to be CEO one day.
When he was 17, he moved in with Lauren and her parents who knew a thing or two about real estate.
She was studying to become a real estate agent.
I then chose to follow the career path of my mother and work alongside with her and do professional property management.
While I'm going to college, I got 4 years, a smartphone, and a laptop. There has to be a way to make money.
It was 2008. The recession was going on, and Kevin was filling his head with all things finance.
How is it that so many people are losing so much money? And how in my life can I do the opposite?
So he turns 18. The first thing he does is he goes and opens up his first credit card. This establishes his first line of credit in preparation for what's to come.
With real estate, you can make your own schedule. How about selling real estate?
Lauren's family knew about real estate. How hard could it be to be a real estate agent? I could probably make more than the $6,000 I'm making right now working part-time minimum wage.
Finished my licensing, testing, and that, which is a joke. It's just like flash.
Oh, it's so easy. I mean, so really it just starts with getting your license, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I officially passed my real estate licensing test and now I'm a real estate agent. I'm like, whoa. I don't really know anything about real estate. I just went from selling smoothies.
So he's going to college. He buys a Prius. He slaps his face on there. Everyone knows that he's an agent. It took him about 11 months to close his first deal.
And I made more money
in one transaction than I made all year.
Okay, so you got your real estate license, started making sales from doing open houses.
By passing out flyers, doing open houses, distributing pumpkins, I had to replace the soles on my dress shoes every 6 months.
2 years later, I became a real estate broker.
I don't sell really high-end properties. I don't sell $1 million homes. I sell basic 3-bedroom, 2-bath houses, duplexes, triplexes.
What's the next best way to start selling real estate? Well, how about owning real estate?
They wanted to buy a property, but they only had $8,000 and $9,000 to their name respectively. This meant that they could only buy a property that they could afford, which meant they had to get a fixer-upper.
And I conveniently came across a house in a neighborhood that was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, and it was totally gutted. We ended up finding a trashed fixer-upper.
Yeah, that house right behind me was actually the first house we ever made an offer on.
So they find a place listed at $287,000 in a $450,000 market. He thinks this only needs about $50,000 worth of work. This is the beginning of the wedge deal. The money that they had was pretty insignificant, but the good news is that they had no student loan debt. This meant that they could do a hard money loan.
This is basically where you find a really good property, like a cheap house you can fix up and flip, and you pay an exorbitant amount of fees, like plus you pay like 9% in interest, but it makes sense if you get a really good deal. The only catch is you gotta find somebody that can qualify for the loan, because you ain't gonna qualify for it.
This meant that Kevin's father had to co-sign for them. And at 19, Kevin and Lauren bought their first property at 3.5% down for $305,000. Just a quick time out from Kevin and Lauren's story. What they did with their first property, I did with my first property. This coming January, we're gonna put out a series where I kind of go over my personal experience with buying and remodeling and refinancing this first property, all the fun tidbits and insights. So if you're into that kind of thing, make sure to subscribe. Catch us in January for that. And if you're into this video, hit the like button. Back to Kevin and Lauren.
At 19 years old, I bought my first property with Lauren.
This was a fixer-upper. I mean, it needed a lot of work, and they threw themselves at this project.
I mean, like, I could probably paint and do drywall. I mean, I've never done it before, but like, you know, there's always YouTube, which was true back then too.
Whatever I could do to learn is what I did in that first house. I would do a bunch of outlet changes or drywall or whatever, then I'd hire a professional and go, hey, what did I do wrong? Lauren and I start getting closer because we were spending all this time making trips to IKEA and Home Depot with U-Hauls to save every freaking penny.
Insulation, asbestos, landscaping, he did it all himself.
And I'll tell you, there was nothing better in sort of my education, and I saw how much money I was able to make.
And from that addiction of seeing a property transform and being a complete dump and a disaster, but a great deal at the same time, knowing that every dollar we put in was a multiple on our equity and our net worth.
Wait a minute. This isn't that big of a deal. It was that first house that really led me down this real estate investing path. That $300,000 house turned into a now $600,000 house.
The market had extrapolated in value.
Was able to take a little bit of my money, like $8,000, $9,000 from Lauren, and turn it into over
$200,000 in net worth on that property.
This is a big deal. Because the market went up in value, they were able to refinance on their home. This meant that they were able to get rid of mortgage insurance, get rid of their cosigner, qualify for future loans on their own. They had a lower interest rate, and they were able to take out an $80,000 home equity line of credit. They were in.
And that kind of lit a fire under our butts to go make some more money.
Why not? Now it's just a matter of going and finding the deal.
For weeks upon weeks, I was passing out flyers, knocking on doors, and holding open houses, doing whatever I could to find a fixer-upper to buy.
I'm going to find a rental deal this year. I'm gonna make it happen. I don't know how it's gonna happen, but I just feel it. I think I just watched the movie The Secret, and
the more effort you put in, all of a sudden, the more opportunities you get. So, I took $100,000 out of property number 1 in that refinance, and we bought number 2 off market as a rental. I just got another $100,000 golden ticket. But all of a sudden, because I bought an under market value deal that gave me over $100,000 in net worth, my net worth instantly exploded.
So at this point, you're probably thinking they borrowed against the $200K. That's gonna mean that they have no equity. That's not true. They took that money to put it down on the next place. And because it was a below market value property, they had $150,000 in equity on the new place.
Because we bought another good deal. And look, I get it. You might all be thinking to yourself, oh, Kevin, does that mean you're just all debt and no equity? No. That first house we bought 3.5% down, probably closer to 40% equity now, and it's worth $600,000. But do keep in mind, I'm a big fan of not over leveraging. Once you have a nice base or something you can retire off of, don't lose it in a recession, you know what I mean?
Part of the beauty of Kevin and Lauren's journey is that they're discovering their investment strategy as they go, which breaks down to 3 different philosophies. Rule number 1, buy below market value. Kevin and his wife only buy properties
knowing I'm buying it cheaper than what I could sell it for as soon as I fix it up.
This is what they call
real estate wedges. For example, I showed you a before and after on this channel of a hoarder house renovation that I did. I bought the place for $450,000. I spent $50,000 withholding costs fixing it up, which means I'm into the deal for about $500K. It's now worth $700,000. My wealth went up about $1 million this year just from getting deals below market value.
If you're trying to figure out what that could look like, Kevin says, buy the median. The cool thing about this is that he does not have to pay taxes on this. If he were ever to go sell, he would do a 1031 exchange and then take advantage of some other loopholes.
To make sure I never, ever have to pay taxes on this money.
Rule number 2, think net worth, not cash flow.
So people are always worried about, well, I want passive income. Well, I want cash flow. The first thing you should do is figure out, how am I gonna build a net worth?
He was more concerned with growing his net worth than he was with cash flow. He doesn't care about that $300 a month. If he buys this $500,000 property for $400,000, he's increased his net worth by $100,000 today.
The idea is that with net worth comes cash flow.
With inflation, with rent increases, they actually will cash flow in time.
He has all these mortgages out there that he and Lauren are responsible for, but for that, they do what's called pay down.
My net worth goes up every single month thanks to other people paying off my debts for me. Buying fixer-uppers and then holding them as rentals. Especially here in California, that's a hard thing to grasp, like why?
When you have this net worth on properties that create cash flow when rented out, what are you able to do? You just keep going to the bank and you ask for more money. You go, look, I did really well on these. We could qualify those rents and let us buy another one. Here's the 3rd property we bought, using money from the other deals we bought.
Rule number 3, invest in residential rental properties. If you're investing in real estate, there is a lack of competition, Kevin says, in the single family home market.
On single family, only 11% of buyers are sophisticated investors. That means 89% of people buying places are probably exactly the same as I was when I bought my first place.
Also, the financing is really good. It's actually scalable. It's actually doable.
But with this, I feel like I could keep growing. I could keep buying houses.
We're never worried about vacant real estate. It's never a concern of ours because we just re-rent stuff. And if you have trouble doing that, then just get a property manager involved, which I recommend you do anyway.
You don't have a management company or anything. It's Lauren.
Multi-units tend to be overpaid for, and it's really hard to get them in the first place. You have to have a lot of capital up front.
What happens with multifamily real estate is you have a ton of investors competing for these. A lot of these apartment buildings basically take what all of the apartment buildings similar to it sold for before, and then they add a premium, and then that's what you have to pay.
Also, having multiple single family homes in a way, i.e. multiple tenants, it's like having a multi-unit just dispersed.
This is too easy, man. This is like free money people are leaving on the table.
Keep in mind that this entire time, Kevin is a real estate agent. So there's a lot that he's pulling from being an investor that helps him be an agent and vice versa. There are a lot of benefits to being both an agent and an investor at the same time.
In 2012, I ended up making $47,828. You can see way more than I could have made working hourly.
So first off, he's just making a lot more money because this is another revenue stream.
By 2015, 4 years ago, I'm 27 now, I was making over $600,000 a year.
Being able to finance my renovation, finance the purchase, and then build that equity to help build my career at the same time as starting an investing career.
Number 2, and this one's important, guys, he's able to represent himself as an agent whenever he buys a property. That means that he's making a commission. He's getting paid whenever he goes out and buys.
That means this year alone, because I bought 8 properties, I've made around $200,000 on real estate commissions.
That alone, guys, is reason to go get your real estate license. If you're planning on buying property, why not do it?
Even just the excitement of, oh my gosh, if this closes, I'm gonna make
so
$6,000 or whatever it is, right?
I love that.
He's picking up a lot more clients because he has this wealth of knowledge as a property investor. He stands out over every other real estate agent. His experience is invaluable. As a buyer, when Kevin represents you, you're getting an expert investor. He knows how to get you deals.
And then offered better terms than what all the home buyers were paying because they were all thinking, well, I need to have an inspection on this. Meanwhile, I'm like, you kidding me?
As a seller, when Kevin represents you, you're getting an expert renovator.
You don't need to put in really expensive tile to get this thing rented out. I told the lender, give me a week. I had the drywall fixed, all the water damage removed, and a new furnace installed. I know what tenants want. I know what buyers want. Let me help you.
He's able to advise you on how to increase the value of your home.
Surprisingly, most agents in my area don't fix up properties before they sell them. It takes special tricks and special formulas to fix up a house affordably. It created all these opportunities for me to fix up properties instead of other agents, and so I got a lot more listings.
He's helping other people find these wedges, these golden tickets.
That I would turn around and teach everything I knew about investing to all my clients, and then they'd get the bug and they wanted to invest. In a year, not only did I do my own renovation, but I'm doing 35 renovations for clients.
He has his client's best interest in mind. He is exactly what a real estate agent should be.
Which, the more people I sold houses for, the more people I've helped buy houses with, the more commissions I got, and the more houses I was able to buy.
Not only is he helping everyone else, but he's helping himself. He's able to take all of his experience and go get more deals, more of these golden tickets.
Place is worth over $770,000 now after we did maybe $25,000 worth of work.
Watching this, I'm like, I should have become a real estate agent.
We thought so too. I mean, it's a no-brainer. The commission that you can make, especially in a high-priced market like California, can immediately be put toward a good chunk of your down payment. You wanna know just how life-changing me, Kevin, has been? Nathan and I are gonna get our real estate license. We just signed up for the course like 2 days ago. Yeah, that's how life-changing me, Kevin, has been.
You also can become a real estate agent or a lender or a contractor and increase your income.
So at this point, they create a company called Meet and Done.
Meet and done, yes. Hey, you wanna sell your house? Hey, I could sell your house as is. You could also hire my contracting business and we'll fix it up for you. And we'll even do a loan for you. We'll lend you the money to fix it up. That was Meet and Lend. And then Lauren would come in and do Meet and Stage. You guys.
Everything, no, literally. From the real estate team, to the construction team, to the media team, creating an app, multiple vehicles, and the advertising campaign, 15 staff employees.
Top to bottom, or we'll just buy it as is as a cash investor.
Wow.
Yeah.
Getting reliable employees has proven to be very, very, very difficult in construction.
This has been such a stress in my life, this whole second company idea.
Let's just say when payday came around, everyone else was jumping up and down. I wasn't.
After Meet and Done, when there was a point where I had 15 employees, I realized I never wanted that obligation again.
Ultimately, Meet and Done ended up being a failure in Kevin and Lauren's eyes.
The business worked amazingly until I started taking on individual clients. No, I want this cabinet. It went away from me, from my vision. It became their vision.
Within 18 months, they closed it. They took $1 million loss and they moved on.
It's done.
It's done. We met it and it's done.
Now done.
The concept was a lot better.
It was.
I remember this. Kevin even made a video about how he was able to use this loss to offset income in future years. It's an expensive lesson though, but even Grant Cardone was telling him this is not a business you want to be in.
It just made more sense to sell real estate. It was much more profitable.
They took this loss, but it didn't matter. They're on this buying and renovating rampage.
And we ended up buying a rental property with 25% down, 2013, another one in 14, and we bought a new house for ourselves in 15.
This is when the snowball started.
Another property at the end of 15, another one in 16, and in 17, a warehouse and 2 more.
Nice.
Fist bump to that. Yeah. Yeah.
In 2017, I bought house number 6 on the market. In 2018, I bought a house that I ended up flipping. In this one, I actually did something known as an 80-10-10 loan. And then I was able to use that credit line to go buy other real estate as I kind of paid that off and drew on it, paid it off, drew on it. Bought house number 10 for $660,000 on the market, worth $825. I bought house number 11 for $525. I bought house number 12 for $450,000 from somebody who knew I did renovations. Property 18 is a $1.33 million beach home that I bought on the market.
We're gonna have 6 units basically right by the beach.
Which will be a 3-plex, 3-unit apartment building that we're turning into a 6-unit apartment building, which Lauren is really excited about managing.
That went over everyone's heads. There's no way Lauren's excited about managing another 3 units. But the management and running of this day to day in and of itself has to be a full-time job for his wife Lauren, on top of taking care of 2 kids.
Okay. So it's been 10 years. How many properties? What is the grand total?
This year, I'm on my 11th property this year. We're gonna close our 20th.
Gosh, man.
We're about to close on our 20th property in Southern California.
Which, when this was filmed, we have since added 2 more. You know?
Having 22 rental properties in Southern California is wild.
All of this adds up to $17 million of real estate.
Million.
Okay, 17 million. But we have to keep in mind the debt. He's at about 9 million in debt. So the thing to take a look at is the actual appreciation.
Here in SoCal, we tend to see an average of about 3% a year in appreciation. 3% a year in appreciation
On a $17 million net worth leads to $510,000. Every year, his properties are making $510,000.
That's not money I have to pay taxes on either. It's just, here's wealth that increases. And if I want to take a loan out on some of that wealth, I can, and then I can spend that money and also not have to pay taxes.
So where do Kevin and Lauren go from here? That's the question.
A little over 3 years ago, this guy reached out to me over email and said we had a lot in common. He told me that he had been watching me since I had about 7,000 subscribers.
Oh, wow.
October 13th.
This is an exposed
2017. I'm 25. With my wife, we own just over $4 million in properties.
My passion for real estate sales came YouTube.
But we're gonna get into that in part 2. We'll break down Kevin's journey on YouTube, how he's diversified his portfolio to having 10 different revenue streams, the genius of how they all work together to further build their empire, and exactly what their net worth is now in just 10 years. I don't know about you, but we're super motivated to move forward with our lives with these insights. I mean, we're gonna get our real estate license.
It's true. She's not lying. We actually are gonna get them. By the way, I'm Nathan, the other half of Methodbox. I just watched Jonathan pour his life into this piece for the last 2 weeks, so go back and rewatch it, because chances are you probably missed something, and there's a lot of valuable information that you guys can take away. So go for it, rewatch it.
On this channel, we make videos for you, the modern entrepreneur. So if you're into that kind of thing, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and we'll see you in part 2.